Hey, Kelly. Hi, Karen. Hopefully my audio is working right off the bat this time, I hope. Hey, Kelly. There he is. Whoops. Hey, Killer Queen. Frida. Tanya. Sorry, Frida. Hey, Backrooms. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Lizzie. Cindy. If it makes you feel better, Frida, I will probably take a break from this game for a little while after this session. I'll go back to that validate one that I was doing. I actually intended to be to go back to that a while ago, but oh hey, where am I? Why am I not on screen? Give me a second to get on screen here. There I am. Hey, Polly. Lizzie. Hey, Mary. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Hamburger. Name Cove makes me aggro. Yeah, Frida, it's like after tonight, I will probably take a bit of a break from it for a few weeks. Go back to that validate game for a few weeks. Hey, Google user. Probably for the month of March, I'll do the validate. Hey, California Milk. Hey, Vac. Soap is good. Generally, yes. I did not, Frida. I did finish watching Wednesday last night. What you playing? It's a visual novel, Vac. Aw, thanks, Cindy. So yeah, I finished watching Wednesday last night. I'll need to spend a little bit of time thinking about it. I'll have try to get a review up in the next few days. Sometime next week. Or sometime this coming week. Final thought. I think my main feeling on Wednesday is that it is a well-made teen supernatural drama that just happens to have Wednesday Addams as a character. Does anyone masturbate and cry? I mean, isn't that what... It's a daily occurrence, Jenna. Hey, Habibi. Breakfast for dinner? Sure. If I sent a pocket pussy, no, I would not use it. I would not do a review of it, Frida. Hey, Cam. Ortega is hot. And, like, she was good as Wednesday. Like, she did a really good job as Wednesday. Everyone in the cast did a good job. No, Paulie. Hey, Icky. Supernatural? No, never watched Supernatural. If you're not using Tears as lube, you're doing it wrong. Anyway. Yeah, so, like, it didn't feel like an Addams show. Like, it didn't feel like an Addams Family show. It felt like they took Vac. Holy shit. Just because. Thank you very much, Vac. Hearts in the chat for VAC. Hearts in the chat for Vac. Drop some hearts. Velvet Acid Christ. Hey, Belly. Dinner? No. And I probably won't be having dinner for a while. Be having a very late dinner tonight. How are your sacks and how much do we produce? Who measures their juice anyway? People who are super organized, probably Google user. Dinner cooking in the oven now. Cool, cool. Hey, Mallow. Hey, Molko. Why very late dinner? Because I'll be playing this. Because this is going to last for 2 or 3 hours. Hey, Rusty. Yeah, 2 to 3 hours for this, so... yeah. Just on the walls and ceiling? No, I have not. But anyway, yeah, so Wednesday... a well-made supernatural drama, teen supernatural drama, that just happens to have Wednesday Addams dropped into the middle of it. Not an Addams Family show, but a show that happens to have an Addams character in it. Well, haven't opened the dating sites yet. That's right, I was going to do that last night. Do that sometime this week. Maybe. Possibly. We'll see. Hot Wednesday Addams. That's the plan, Jenna, yeah. That's the plan, Jenna, is that I will at some point just do a stream of putting together some profiles on some dating sites. Did a wonderful job. Yeah, she was good. She was really good at... Lizzie! Because you're special and we love you. Thank you very much, Lizzie. Hearts in the chat for Lizzie now. Thank you very much. Yeah, like I said, she did a good job. All the Addams characters were done well. You know, Louise Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones and... yeah, they were all good. it just didn't, like, they all felt like the Addams Family. It just did not feel like an Addams Family show. I think it's sort of like, is what it basically comes down to for me. Jenny will help me catfish dates. There's a Wednesday show, not an Addams. Right, but I mean, it's like I said, it's just. It felt like a show that had Wednesday Addams in it, rather than feeling like a Wednesday Addams show. Bitch Meeting had a video about Wednesday. The Addams movies for good? Yeah. No corny jokes until the second date. Do not do corny jokes in the DM. So start with corny jokes. Okay. Corny jokes right off the bat. Teaching me to become the throat goat. Actually, Google, I'm going to be starting in just a couple minutes. Have trouble with men, period. We are bothersome. Basic teen mystery drama. Exactly, Pepperoni. Supernatural teen mystery drama that just happened to have Wednesday Addams. It's just well made, but not Addams. But not an Addams show. Not an Addams Family show. Well, right, Jackie, it is specifically about Wednesday. But, like, Wednesday is a part of the Addams Family. So, like, a show that's sort of specifically about her, that's fine. You know, a show about her going to a boarding school? Sure, why not? The issue is that, like, it's a supernatural boarding school, and that just doesn't feel authentic to the Addams Family premise. Funny, you were looking at MLP dildos yesterday? Yeah. I want courthouse marriage now. I've fallen asleep on a dick. Hogwarts? No, I can't play Hogwarts. Because I don't give a shit about Harry Potter. I've never given a shit about Harry Potter. And I am not going to do anything that validates a prominent transphobe. I'm not going to give money to a fucking transphobe. Anyway. Let's get into it. Driving. I guess you can get a Canadian green card. Sam looking for a financially stable woman? Anyways, let's get into it. Like a lazy cat, you stretched your arms above your head and yawned, blinking your eyes sleepily. The day was warm and pleasant, and you were lounging on the couch in the living room, finding it difficult to do much in that moment. Your moms and Liz had gone out shopping, looking for some new items for your sister to take back and decorate her college dorm with. They had asked if you wanted to go with them, but you declined. For you, today was all about relaxation. Cove had dropped by to spend some time with you, content to join in with doing nothing. The two of you had been chattling idly as you lazed around, talking about the other things you had planned for the summer. Okay. Bye, Frida. See you tomorrow then. See you tomorrow I guess, Frida. Stretched out across him as he sat on the couch. You had your feet propped up on one of the armrests and used Cove as a comfy cushion beneath your head, totally settled in. Cove gently wound his fingers through your hair as you rested on his legs, equally at ease. The day dragged on, and you found yourself yawning more and more often between conversations. You had almost dozed off completely, when suddenly a buzz rang out, disturbing the silence. Your phone was on its charger in the kitchen, so it couldn't have been that. Cove pulled his own phone from his back pocket and checked the screen. His movement had jostled you, so you tried to readjust your position to get it right again.
Oh.
It's my mom. After leaning forward and setting the phone on the coffee table in front of him, Cove hit the speaker button. Hey, what's up? Jamie is here too.
Hi.
Hi, Cove. Hello, Jamie. Hey, Mom 3. You knew your forwardness was making Cove regret putting it on speaker, but you were alright with that. Cove, baby, I want to ask you if you have a plan for all your junk. Cove made a small, outraged grumble, giving you a sidelong glance. That's not junk. It's important. Hey, Barney. Mm-hmm. Though you couldn't see it, you could tell by the sound of her voice that Kira was smiling.
Aha.
But is that a yes or no about the plan? He looked over at you, his mouth pulled into a tight smile. I'm still thinking about it. Jamie. I'm gonna take the phone off speaker so me and Mom can go over this. It'll be quick. Cove carefully moved you off him and took the phone from the table before pushing himself to his feet. He hit the speaker again to turn it off and continued the conversation with his mom as he headed towards the door. The lock clicked behind him as he exited the house, and you sank back onto the cushions, idly trying to decide what to do next. After electing to grab your own phone from its charger, you resumed your position on the couch, tapping away at the screen. Your mind drifted away from thoughts of Cove and his phone call with all the many ways your device could distract you. It was an effective enough way to kill time, and you had managed to do various little things when the door opened again and Cove returned. He gave you a smile as he approached, so you figured the conversation couldn't have gone too bad. You watched as Cove strolled over to where you were still sitting. He crossed his arms against the top corner of the couch, resting on them while bending forward to lightly kiss the top of your head.
Hey.
I'm back. When I say house? How am I supposed to say house? House. Hoose! Hey, Comic Brook! Hey, Triggers! When I say hoose? Actually, hoose is the Scottish pronunciation. Get in the hoose! Well, that was bad. You tilted your head and gave him a small kiss. He met your lips with his, closing his eyes and letting you kiss him longer than the one he had just given prior. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, just... He turned his head suddenly, running a hand through his hair and letting out an exasperated breath. He seemed nervous, but you couldn't imagine why.
Fine.
It's fine. Not anything to worry about. You raised an eyebrow at his tone, moving your head to the side to try and meet his eye. That doesn't explain what's going on. He shrugged and gave you a tight smile, trying to play whatever it was actually was off as unimportant. Not arguing, no? There's nothing going on. Just stuff I can deal with later. Some other time. He was transparently avoiding the truth, and you stared back at him seriously. An indication that you weren't going to ignore what he was doing. Eventually, he broke beneath your stare, hanging his head in his hands and groaning. I need to make another trip to my mom's place. There's some stuff out there that I'm going to use, so I'll have to go pick it up. It wouldn't make sense to ship it, and I couldn't bring the stuff back with me last time since I flew. Oh. Suddenly you understood what the phone conversation had been about. Cove was going to drive to his mom's house in Nevada. When will you go? Mom thinks it would be best to do it now while I'm still kind of free, but... Jenna! 5 gift memberships from Jenna. Thank you very much, Jenna. And congratulations to Jackie, Sunshine Granny, 8 Little Paws, Northumberland Witch Tarot, and I'm a guys. Thank you very much, Jenna. You're so sweet. Am I all packed up? Of course not, Elaine. I saw Forna. I thanked her. I thanked Jenna for the gift memberships. Cove pouted, giving you an unhappy look, and you could see the prospect was already taking a toll on him. I don't want to. I was just there, and for even longer than usual. That laugh. Yeah, that's my, I think that's my, coming apart at the seams laugh. By the way, I'm wearing one of my new shirts that somebody sent me. See? Brand new shirt. One of my brand new shirts. Wicked Witch of the West? Westlife? That's the Wicked Witch of the Wicked Witch of the West. The laugh I did was like... Start writing again? I mean, there's a part of me that does want to, but someone sent me a pack of t-shirts. No idea who. I genuinely don't know who. There was no, note included. There was nothing included to, tell me who sent it. So I have no idea who it was. Looks good. Thanks. Why do I have to leave? Right now, when it's our last summer like this. I don't want you to go either. Isn't there another way to get your stuff? Could she drop it off instead? I don't think so. Wish list? No, I have no wish list. I mean, I have a Barnes & Noble wish list, but that's it. Looking up again, you met his bright aquamarine eyes, finding a sad smile tugging on his lips.
Oh.
Suddenly his eyebrows jumped, and his eyes lit up like a lamp. You could come with me. Yeah, they just mailed it to me. What? You should come with me. I mean, I get that the two of us live next door to each other, and my mom lives in another state. My trips there usually spend time with her, just the two of us. But this time it won't be like that. All I'm going to do is drive over, stay for a night, and then pack up the car in the morning and turn around again. My other t-shirt is a t-shirt. Dandy? So last night Dandy came in, Elaine, and said that he'd been getting over a case of COVID. COVID. Yeah, Barney's been sick lately. You sent them, Ariel? Well, thank you, Ariel. Hey, Kalea. Most of the time will be spent in the car, so it'd be good to have another person there. Plus, you'd have the chance to see my mom again, and her place. Maybe we could even find something cool to break out on the way. You couldn't stop yourself from laughing at his enthusiasm. He blushed a little, reining himself in.
Please?
I just feel like it could be fun. Please, could you think about it? No one has ever sent me a flashlight, no. Well, thank you very much, Ariel. That was very sweet of you to send those t-shirts, Ariel. They're nice shirts. Did you include any sort of, did you try to include any sort of letter or note or anything? Because I didn't see anything in the package, Ariel. I didn't see anything like a you're welcome note or anything. Ariel lying. I took your advice and haven't gotten out of bed all day. Good times. Good times. That's my favorite kind of day. I want to go. A road trip sounds fun. I'll have to let my moms know, but as long as we've got nothing else important on the days we pick, then there's no reason I wouldn't be able to go. Hey, shucks. He grinned from ear to ear, thrilled by the news. He put both his hands on your cheeks, kissing your face all over, having to bend down far to do so. But he didn't mind a bit. Then he wrapped his arms around your neck, letting out a happy sigh.
I'm so glad.
This is so great. I'll call my mom back and let her know right now. You spent some time together going over your schedules and making plans for when you could take the trip. You needed to fit it in around Cove's work schedule, which he brought up on his phone to double check. Luckily, it was only a 2-day trip, so finding a couple free days in a row wasn't impossible. It wasn't long before the dates were finally set, and all the plans were made. You were excited for the trip. Hamburger Rice? I will get back to validate shortly. Next time next gaming stream, I'll make it validate. A short trip sounded like the perfect way to spend some time. You could listen to music, eat snacks, and enjoy the open road. The open road. Game is so long. It is comic book. It is very long. Hey, Sosia. No matter what you thought about things, the morning when you were due to leave arrived. It was cooler than usual, the sun barely peeking over the tops of the houses. You stood outside your house, on the footpath near the road, waiting for Cove. Jenna likes to comment just to see the key next to her name. Can you blame her? How much skin do you have left? About a quarter. I think I'm about 3/4 of the way through. I'd have to double check, but I believe there's one more summer to do, but I believe that summer is just one thing. I don't think it's got all these moments. So after this, I've got 10 more moments to get through. 5 already there, and then there's a DLC pack coming that I think will have another 5. So I'm not too far. I've got more behind me than ahead. I've got more complete than remaining. You yawned loudly, covering your mouth with the back of your hand. Mornings were always a struggle. What am I playing after this? So I'm going to be getting back to Validate. Next gaming stream I do. So I'll start going back and forth between... I'll go back to going back and forth between this and Validate. And that... What else? I don't know. I've got some other ones that I can do. Sims. Hey, Anna. I don't know. Maybe I should make streams like a donation goal or something like that. Rather die than watch you play the specific game again. Leadership Larry. I played Land of the Lounge Lizards on fucking floppies. Play a dating sim where the chat gets to choose who you pursue. Maybe. Maybe, Compbrook. Fucking up their lives. Isn't that what you do in Sims? I don't know. Because I don't like Sims. I find Sims to be boring. But... you can either pay... emotional support pony? You can either pay $1.99 or you can hope you get lucky when somebody donates gift memberships. Remember floppy disks? Yeah. But no, I don't think I will be playing any Leisure Suit Larry games on here. They are not really appropriate for YouTube. Wasn't gonna watch this, but I like talking to you. Thanks, thanks, Frida. I appreciate that. Anyway, with your travel bag clutched in one hand, you watched as Cove finished packing up his car. He had organized all sorts of things. Water bottles, snacks, and who knows what else. Get the fuck mods, make your own Sims. Which I'm not doing, Frida. If I'm going to be playing Sims on stream, there is no way I'm getting XXX mods. Sims actually encouraged me to do more in my life, like they were inspired by reading and doing push-ups and stuff like, damn, what am I doing? University one? I found that one kind of shitty. I'll be honest, I feel like I played 3 of the Leisure Suit Larry games. Land of the Lounge Lizards, the one that's set like at a gym, spa, resort place, and the one about his kid in college. Or his nephew in college. Of the 3, I think I found Lounge Lizards to be like the best of them. I feel like, you know, they get worse and worse as they go on. Anyway, Cove insisted he had everything under control and didn't need help. At least you could rest easy, knowing that it was all taken care of. As you waited, you glanced over Cove's car. You knew it well. It used to belong to Mr. Holden, and when Cove had learned to drive, it passed to him. His dad had taken the opportunity to get a newer one. It was pretty old at this point, but it served both of them well so far. Hi, Gia. You just hoped it had enough life left in it to survive a trip as long as the one you were embarking on. Get my Sims character fucked to death? No. The slam of a door closing made you jump. You snapped back to focus and saw Cove was walking towards you. He dusted his hands off on his pants and tilted his head towards the car. That's it? Ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready. He smiled and stepped aside, giving you space to situate your own bag where you wanted it. Once everything was safely inside, he glanced back at you.
All right.
We should get started. It's going to be a ways to go. You hugged him. He seemed surprised, but he chuckled and returned the gesture. It couldn't last for long, though. Time was of the essence. The two of you climbed into the car and buckled up. Cove in the driver's seat, and you sitting shotgun. His eyes moved to you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for coming on this trip with me. Of course, it's no problem. Belly? Who wants to imagine a Sims character be... Death by Snoo Snoo, Bally! Like, you're not interested in Death by Snoo Snoo? What are you, gay? After checking the mirrors and starting the engine, you pulled out of the driveway and the trip began. With a small sigh, you got cozy in your seat and watched the familiar houses in your neighborhood pass by. Cove reached over to turn on the radio. A crackle of static, mixed with the old snippets of song, filled the car as he flipped through the stations. Mr. Holden's car was in good condition, but it was, well, older. There was no way to plug in a phone to play music, so the radio had to do. Boo! Eventually, he settled on the classic rock station, before sitting back and resting both hands on the wheel. I know I'm old, because music I grew up with gets played on the classic rock stations. Cam? I was quoting Futurama, Cam. It was a Futurama quote. Is this okay? Bally? I mean, so many people play The Sims just to, like, kill their Sims. Yeah, it works. He smiled, happy with the answer. Time flew by, and with it the scenery outside your window became more and more unfamiliar. Neither of you spoke for a good long while, but the quiet was comfortable. You had become all too used to each other's company over the years. Eventually Cove broke the silence, clearing his throat softly before he spoke. It's been too long since you and I have spent some time with my mom. I know she still comes to the neighborhood sometimes, but it's not even once a year. I'm always going to hers. I'm happy the two of you are doing this. Yeah, me too. But speaking of your mom and trips, remember the time she took us on that crazy drive all across town? He shook his head at the memory, his laughter clear and bright. Oh, I remember. I kept worrying about papers and shoes while you were having a blast. Not Yowie, no. I get my Sims addicted to drugs. It was an amazing night. He smiled quietly to himself, clutching the wheel a little more confidently. With the crinkling of his eyebrows, a look of nostalgia crossed over Coe's features. Mom always knew how to make things memorable. I can't deny that. Silence slowly crept back into the space, both of you thinking back on that night and all the memories you had of it. Your elbow resting on the windowsill, you gazed out at a world that was slowly coming to life as the morning rolled on by. The sun climbed higher in the sky, forcing you to adjust the visor overhead to keep it out of your eyes. Hey, do you mind reaching back for me? Cove gave you a sidelong glance as he drove, indicating with a nod of his head and a tiny smile. I want some chips, the salt and vinegar ones. Hey! Good choice, Cove! That's a great flavor.
Right?
Eat whatever you want, too. I brought a bunch of everything. Stretching out the seatbelt to give yourself space, you twisted in your spot and reached into the bag holding the snacks. It took a bit of effort to sort through the collection of goodies stuffed inside, but eventually the bag of chips crinkled beneath your fingers as you pulled them out and sat back in your seat. Here. Thanks. Do you mind opening it? His eyes lit up at the prospect of the snacks, and you shook your head in amusement, popping the top of the bag. Want me to feed them to you? His eyes widened, the hint of a blush creeping over his cheeks, but he steadfastly continued to face the road. No, that's okay. Can you just pour a few into my hand? Not full sex, Frida. Yeah, sure. Thanks. Cove held out one outstretched hand. You did your best to have the chips fall into his palm, but some did end up on the floor. After that, you rolled up the top of the bag and stowed the chips safely in the back again. When you turned to the front, it was to find Cove crushing the fistful of chips into his mouth, crunching loudly. He wiped his hand on his pants absentmindedly, before gripping the wheel and spilling crumbs all over the place. It actually wasn't with... I don't think Chantal and I ever did anything in a car. My first girlfriend. We fooled around a bit. Sleeping pill sex is the best. You're like a little kid. He snorted and pulled a hand from the wheel once more to flick the salty residue from his fingers at you. With a gasp, you raised an arm to defend yourself. You shook your head at the mess of crumbs that fell from his mouth as he chuckled. See what I mean? The hours drifted by much the same way as that, with the two of you snacking and chatting as the day stretched on. It was fairly calm and quiet, traveling along the open road, and you found little in the way of interruptions. At one point you passed a "Welcome to Nevada" sign, and Cove gave a tiny cheer. He was in disbelief that the two of you were seriously all the way in another state like this. Eventually you had to stop for gas, and made a detour at a small diner to grab a proper meal that didn't consist of chips and candy. After refueling both the car and your stomachs, the drive was back on, just as the sun began dipping beneath the horizon and bathing the sky in a wash of orange light. Cove informed you that there wasn't too much longer left to go. You were almost there. When night eventually fell in a blanket of darkness, the drive finally came to an end. Cove pulled into the parking lot of Kira's apartment building, the glow of the car lights disappearing as he turned off the engine and let out a heavy sigh.
Huh.
We made it. We're here. I like period masturbating. We should all know less about each other. The two of you exchanged tired smiles, having successfully, and safely, completed one half of the trip. You were relieved to have actually arrived, and eager to get out of the car and stretch your legs. You took the stairs up to the building together. After a knock, you were abruptly met by a flash of green hair as Kira opened the door and immediately took her son in her arms.
Cove.
There he is! My gigantic baby boy! She squeezed him for a moment and then pulled back so she could examine his face. Are you even taller than the last time I saw you? Cove gave her a fond look as she patted the tops of his shoulders proudly. You say that every time I'm here. Doesn't even make sense right now. My last visit wasn't that long ago. Kira simply laughed before letting him go fully, and ushering the two of you into her apartment. Then she turned to you, a wide grin pulling at her lips. Jamie, it's so nice you came along with. And as a bonus, you've both arrived in one piece. Yeah, it's good to see you. It's been a long time. Kira beamed at you both, and while you would have loved nothing more than to settle down and rest after the drive, you could see she wasn't going to let you go that easily.
So?
How was the trip? I admit I was just a pinch worried. Yes, Kira is Cove's mom, and yes, she is absolutely a MILF. Hey, Friesen. This lady is this dude's mom. And my would-be mommy. We barely made it. Cove gave you a dry look, a small smile tilting his lips. We handled it just fine. Kira clapped her hands together, the bracelets around her wrists jingling. No, Habibi. Who is Mom? Those are the main characters' moms. Those are Jamie's moms. Player characters' moms. Lady in the green hair is fine. She is. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry. I'm so proud. I can hardly believe how mature you both are. Where did all those smarts come from? Cove ran a hand over his hair with an awkward chuckle.
I don't know.
Maybe I got some from my parents. His mom looked up at him deeply, her eyes glistening as she shook the sentimentality off with a wave of her hand.
Any whoosies?
You have to be asleep. You have to be half asleep already, huh? I don't want to keep you up much longer. Early morning in any whoosies? How do you want to deal with the sleeping arrangements? I've only got my own room in Cove's, though the living room couch isn't bad. Chestat? Yep, she does, Gia. Jamie can use my bed. I'll just sleep on the floor in the room. It doesn't matter for one night. Kira laughed out loud, startling you both. You raised an eyebrow at her outburst, giving her a quizzical look. Oh yeah, you'll just stay on the floor. You couldn't handle that much back when you were 13 with both your parents in the room. Cove flushed a dark red and gaped, completely unprepared for her to pull out that embarrassing moment from the past. Her laughter continued unabated. You're going to be driving tomorrow. Do you really want to risk another potential head injury?
Hey!
Mom! You laughed it off. Thankfully, the tension in the air dissipated as Kira and Cove chuckled along with you. I'll sleep on the couch in the living room. Cove shook his head, dismissing the idea immediately.
No.
You're the guest. Alright, I'll have the bed. Thank you for offering.
So...
Would you be okay with me sleeping on the floor in the room? I'd rather be there than out in the open in the living room, even if there is the couch. Yeah, you can sleep there. Kira giggled softly, drawing your attention back to her. All funny stuff aside, you need to get some sleep for tomorrow. Seems like you're setting yourselves up to not get any. I know that sounds really captious, but I'm a mom. I have to say these things. The cat is not being put down. Come on, we're not little kids having a sleepover. We're responsible adults, right, Jamie? Cove is, though I can't say the same for myself. With a crooked smile, Cove shrugged and made a small amused sound. I'll leave it at that then, for now. Just remember that the walls are thin in this apartment. If you can't settle down and sleep, I might have to separate you. We'll be good.
Marvelous.
Perfect. Kira clasped her hands together, her bracelets softly tinkling against each other again. It's only getting later, so I better let you prepare for bed. Ahmad? I can say it because it's true. She's looking for someone to take the cat. She nodded towards the hallway and gave you a small smile. Hey, cheesecake. I'll play hostess for a sec and show you where the bathroom is first, Jamie, and where you'll be staying the night. Thank you. You hoisted your travel bag over your shoulder and followed behind Kira and down the hallway. Cove shuffled along behind you, disappearing into the bedroom while his mom had you go to the restroom. The apartment was small, but nicely decorated in soft, cool colors, with plenty of artwork hanging on the walls to give it character. This is a nice apartment. It was stylish, and exactly what you would have expected from someone like Kira. Jackie, what I will say is that we have booked movers. I won't say any more than that. For now. I suppose I could add, the day I don't go live, like, the night I don't go live, that's probably the night that I moved. Or the day that I moved. Love the room, it's cute, yep. After being shown the bathroom and wishing Kira a good night, you headed into the room and found Cove already there. This is a cute room. Yeah, this is a cute bedroom. He had changed into his sleepwear for the night as well, and set aside his glasses already. Looking around, you found the bedroom to look much the same as the rest of the apartment, but with small ocean elements you were sure Cove must have enjoyed when he stayed here. All in all, the room was pretty and clean, though it almost looked more like a hotel guest room than a bedroom. Cove only spent a few weeks out of the year there, so it made sense that it wasn't especially lived in.
So?
What do you think? It's pretty nice, huh? Mom always keeps it clean and everything, even when I'm not here. It's a great room. Cool. I'm glad you like it. Moving in the dead of night to avoid the paparazzi. He seemed pleased enough with the response and gave you a small smile before opening the zip on his bag. When you went back to the room, you jumped in bed and under the covers, just as Cove was shuffling into his sleeping bag on the floor. You waited until he was settled in before you flipped off the lights, and a soft glow from outside peeked through the blinds, casting shadows over the floor. Cove with no brim. You closed your eyes, blocking everything out.
Night.
Night, Jamie. Night, Cove. Sleep well. The room grew quiet as the two of you wound down for the night, and you found yourself listening to the sounds of the city outside the window. The noise out there was so different to what you were used to back home. Cars zooming past and people out having fun, instead of crashing waves and the ocean winds cocooning your house in their embrace. This feels familiar, don't you think? We've been having sleepovers for years. Thanks, Habibi. Cove mumbled quietly and rustled in his bedding, turning to face towards your location.
Right?
It feels like I've had this view so many times, looking up over at you tucked into bed. He trailed off a little, and you assumed he was drifting off to sleep, too tired to continue the conversation. But then, as if a switch had been hit, he sprung up, startling you as he shot upright in his sleeping bag. I will pass on hot tub streams, Brooke. Comp Brooke. I am fine not showing off my body on stream. Wait a minute. Why am I always on the floor? What? You raised her eyebrows at him through the dark. The times I slept over at your house, you got to stay in your bed. It was your bed after all. But it was my family hosting things. That always made sure you got a bed there. The words spilled out of him faster and faster, the pitch of his voice rising as the revelation spiraled. He'd say that you were the guest, so it was only right. No matter what, I've always been the one who takes the floor. Every time! This is a racket! You burst out laughing. How is that only hitting you now? Don't ask me questions. My life is crumbling. I can't believe it. This has been going on for 10 years. He stopped suddenly, and you could see through the limited light that his eyebrows were angled in disbelief, his frown wobbly in shock. That's how it is in my family. My moms have always thought that it was more fun and comfortable for the guests to use their own sleeping things rather than a stranger's bed. And in my family, the guest gets the bed because it's good to make sure your guest has a proper place to sleep. We were opposites all along, but I never even thought about it. When it looked like the situation was going to stall there, Cove sighed suddenly, his shoulders slumping in a sleep-addled defeat.
It's okay.
Forget it. It's too late to take back all those nights on the floor. At least I can think of myself as being really considerate. He sounded resigned to his fate, but despite looking on the bright side, he was still pouting. You went over to him to cheer him up. Slipping out of bed, you kneeled down on the floor beside him, though he promptly turned away from you and continued moping. You wrapped your arms around him. Thinking of nothing else to do, you leaned in and snuggled him into a hug, earning a grumble in response. Cove is 18 and easy. However, you didn't miss the blush that spread across his cheeks and stained his skin. You tried kissing him. With renewed determination, you peppered kisses over his cheeks, his forehead, and even on his eyelids when his eyes slowly closed with a flutter of lashes. He softened with each kiss, gentle mumbles escaping him and hanging in the dark between you. Your heart tightened in your chest, finding him utterly adorable in that moment. How are you feeling now? You brushed your lips tenderly against his jawline, and he made a small, contented sound. Any better? Another kiss on his forehead had him sighing and leaning into you. Cove? You placed a kiss on the tip of his nose, and his eyes snapped open, landing on you with dawning realization. Stop! I'm supposed to be upset about the floor thing. A quiet laugh slipped out of you before you could stop it, and even past the dim light you saw the flush spreading across Cove's face, all the way to the tips of his ears. He sulked, and upon noticing your grin, he gave you a playful nudge to go back to bed, which with a sense of satisfaction you did. With a tired sigh, he flopped back down. I can make do with the floor, for old time's sake. Some real humor came back to his tone. It's basically a tradition by now. Why don't we share? It's big enough. Cove inhaled deeply, the fabric of his sleeping bag crinkling loudly as he fidgeted beneath. I told my mom I was going to stay on the floor. You frowned, wondering when that had ever stopped him before. Did you really plan on going through with that? No. He hesitated a little, the silence stretching between you. You couldn't help but smile to yourself. You knew him well. The sleeping bag rustled again, and through the dim light you saw him stand and head towards the bed. He took in a deep breath as he ran his hands across the top of the blanket, gathering his nerves as his eyes met yours. And then he paused, head tilted to the side, as if silently asking permission. It's all right. You shuffled over to make room for him as he pulled the bedding up and crawled beneath the covers, leaving the two of you close together, but not quite touching. He exhaled a heavy breath as he lay down on his side, his head getting comfy on the pillow next to yours. You had a strange feeling in your stomach, like it was doing little somersaults, but it felt good to have him close. He raised his fingers and delicately brushed the tips over your cheeks, drawing a shaky sigh from your lips. His touch was warm and feather-light, making you feel tingly all over. When his eyes met yours again, you found yourself lost in them, the world becoming still and silent around you. Then he froze, his muscles tensing as he closed up like a clam and his breath hitched in his throat. He attempted to whisper something, but it was completely lost on you. With that having to suffice as a warning, Cove jumped out of the bed and crouched down on the floor, his head held in his hands as he took in a few deep, stuttering breaths. You bolted upright in the bed, staring down at him with a mixture of alarm and bemusement. Are you okay?
I'm always like this.
I thought it'd feel like it did before, when we were younger. But it's different now. I'm sorry, Jamie. Really sorry. I'm just so... He panted deeply, in and out, as though he had just finished running an entire marathon. After finally steadying his breath to a normal rhythm, he crawled back into his sleeping bag and huddled down on the floor, his back turned to you. I think Cove popped a woody. Sorry. You were amused. That was Cove for you. He usually needed at least one trial run before he could take that kind of step forward. You don't need to apologize. He made a small noise, acknowledging that he had heard you, but said no more. With the event over, you laid back down in bed alone for this night. The next day dawned, bringing with it the sounds of birds chirping happily outside the window. You opened your eyes slowly, letting them adjust to the light as you tried to recall where you were, and remembering the unfamiliar sight of Cove's second bedroom. Cove had nudged you awake. Rise and shine, Jamie. Cove shook your shoulder, and you groaned dramatically and buried your head beneath your pillow. 5 more minutes.
No way.
We've got to get started. Sitting up in bed, you let out a yawn and stretched your arms above your head. You felt okay. Considering the long drive the day before, and the late night, you were feeling ready to get the day started. Though you weren't as perky as him, his energy was infectious. Good morning. You pulled yourself out of bed, grabbing a fresh change of clothes and your toiletries before heading to the bedroom. After all that, you met Cove back in his room. He was sitting on the floor when you entered, sorting through a bunch of stuff in a box, determining what to bring and what to leave behind. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, can you pull out the stuff in those drawers? You nodded, though he hadn't even looked up from his task, so you knew he wouldn't have seen. Heading over to his drawers, he started the task of taking out various items and setting them on the ground in front of Cove. After a while, it became clear to you that Cove was acting strange whenever you went near him. He was flinching over your presence. It happened a few more times before you couldn't take the awkwardness any longer. You dropped the stuff you were holding down in front of him and raised a questioning eyebrow. Is everything okay?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry about last night. Again. He quietly sneaked the second part of his thought. About not staying in the bed with you. I know you try not to mind or be mad at me, but I wish I didn't have to make you accept me backtracking all the time. He swallowed thickly, struggling to find the right words to explain himself. I do think it felt nice. Really. Really. It's just also not bad, but good in an inconvenient way.
I mean...
Laying together like that, being so close, it gets too hot, you know? His cheeks flushed with color, and he immediately trailed off, his eyes firmly fixed on the floor. "15 inches? Oof. Yeah, that's way too big." It was that intense for you, huh? Maybe I'm the one who should apologize. His eyes widened, a pink tinge creeping onto his cheeks before he could duck his head enough to hide it.
Well...
Just don't worry about it. You don't need to do anything. Let's get back to packing. With it more or less resolved, he went to grab some more items as Cove focused on the box in front of him once again. Oh hey, look at this! When you turned towards the sound of Cove's voice, you found him digging through one of the drawers beneath the bed.
Neat.
Here's something I definitely need to bring. Neat! Craning your head, you got a better glimpse of what he was holding. Some small jewelry pieces that looked vaguely familiar. An old yellowing book. When he opened it up, there were a few dried, pressed flowers between the pages. Those had been gifts you'd given to him for his mom's place. Something for him to remember you by and to make his time here less lonely. He kept them the whole time. Of course you should take them. I'd be hurt if you didn't. A small smile pulled at your lips as you thought back on when you had mailed your gift to Cove. I put a lot of thought into that present, you know.
It's nice.
These are special. It was important, having a piece of you with me when we were apart. I feel the same way. That's why I gave them to you. Cove smiled, pleased that the feeling was mutual, but then the expression became more amused. And did you keep the souvenirs I brought back? Of course! His grin grew to completion. Thanks. Another hour passed by in silence, and you were happy to see you were making great progress with Cove's room, with only the closet left to sort through. You took a minute to take a mouthful of water from your bottle and perched on the edge of the bed, feeling productive. Cove glanced over at you and paused, putting down the tape gun he had been using to seal up his boxes. Oh yeah, tape. That's something that we'll definitely be needing to get. I already said if I want to know his size, I must ask my mom. Yeah. Hey, Zumphy! Welcome! You know, it's really strange to see you sitting in this room. Why? He frowned a little, his eyes distant and his voice quiet when he spoke next.
That's...
During the visits to Mom's, when I was sitting alone in this room, I'd sometimes think about how you weren't here. It was a weird feeling at the time, that you just weren't around. Now that you are here in this exact place, I don't know how to explain the feeling. He shrugged it off and smiled a little, as though he'd said enough already and didn't want to risk sounding silly. Life is pretty confusing, is all. That's true. Life makes no sense. But I think we've both managed to navigate it well enough so far. He smiled slightly, nodding his head a little. Dildo. G-spot stimulator. With my last girlfriend, there was like a G-spot vibrator. Thanks, Kane's mama. Thanks, Grape Goat. Yeah, I hope so. He looked away satisfied, heading over to the closet, and the last of the items to be sorted. Before long, every box, closet, and drawer had been thoroughly combed through, with the items either neatly packed up in boxes or organized and returned to their proper place. Never used a sex toy? With a sigh of relief, you glanced around the bedroom, the work you had done together. Never used one on myself. I've never used a sex toy on myself. Happened to see someone live and you were in the chat. They're making stuffed peppers and they looked amazing.
All right.
We're done. Good job to us. I'm going to change out of my PJs for the drive. Yeah. When the two of you headed out into the living room, ready to get everything finalized and hit the road, you found Kira in the kitchen, pouring a cup of tea. Cove headed towards her, leaning casually against the counter that divided the two spaces. Hey, you didn't have to get up so early.
Come on.
Are you crazy? Of course I have to see you off before you go. You can't sneak away while I'm out cold. Stuff your pepper. She beamed at him, and in all honesty, seemed more than happy to be up and getting ready for the day. Do you want some breakfast? I got some muesli or eggs and toast. Oh, and some of that fruity cereal you used to love. That's okay. We should really eat on the road. Kira smiled sadly, a little disappointed, but she seemed to understand that your time was running thin. I thought you might say that. In that case, I've packed you some snacks for the road.
What do you think?
Even if you don't end up eating them, take it anyway, just in case. You can always feed them to Cliff when you get home. And tell him I said hi. Cove laughed and shook his head, knowing his dad would love nothing more than to polish off whatever food Kira had prepared for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mom. You really didn't have to. I'll definitely eat whatever you've packed. Ahem. Hey, Roxy. Yep, absolutely eating whatever she's packing. I'm dirty. You better save some for me, too. Kira giggled, hiding her mouth behind her hand. There's plenty there for both of you. She returned your smile with one of her own, before putting her cup of tea aside. Well, I'll help you get the car packed.
Sure.
Thanks. The three of you got a move on, taking the boxes from Cove's bedroom and heading down to fill the back seat of the car, until there was barely an inch of space left in the back and trunk. With all of you helping, it only took a couple of trips to move everything, and you were done before you knew it. Then it was truly time to say goodbye. You convened back inside the apartment, where Kira looked over the two of you with a quiet smile. It was great to see you both. Thank you for coming. She gave each of you a hug, and you felt a little sad that you hadn't been able to spend more time with her. It was good to see you too, Mom. Cove embraced her in return, the two of them holding on to each other for a few seconds longer. I'll miss you, but I'll visit again soon.
Of course.
You better. Should see my crush's wife. I was looking at her Instagram earlier. She's such a bitch. I hate her. I hate her. Hey, we should make plans for you to visit us, too. I'll let you know when it's settled. I'd love that. Kira bundled all the stuff she prepared into a bag and handed them over to you. You took a quick peek at what she had packed. There was fruit, nuts, seeds, hard-boiled eggs, and some veggie sticks.
Cool.
Oh, good to see we've got some fresh food options now. The snacks I brought weren't. Kira shook her head at him and let out a soft laugh, as though she wouldn't have expected anything else. I seriously hope you're feeding yourself better than that at home. Yeah, of course, just not on trips. I can live with that, then. She looked over him fondly, her eyes at last focusing on his face and filling with emotion. I'm going to miss you, baby.
Me too.
Hey, Steph. Thank you for letting us come. No problem at all. You're welcome anytime. Kira put an arm around you both, pulling you in tight to her sides for one final squeeze.
Bye.
Have a safe trip. We will. With a last goodbye, you exited the apartment. The Cove hesitated for a moment in the door, his expression distant. You weren't sure what he was doing, though you tentatively took a step towards him. Everything okay? Your voice seemed to bring him back to earth, and he shook his head to clear his thoughts, his green hair swaying from side to side.
Come on.
Yeah, let's go. With that, the two of you headed back down to the car, ready to make the long trip home. Soon enough, you were on the wide open road, with a car full of Cove's things and only one destination, Sunset Bird, California. The drive went as smoothly as could be expected, with the morning slowly creeping into midday as the miles flew by. The day flew by in a whir of open road and sunshine, and before you knew it, it was early afternoon. By that point, you had already crossed the state line. Cove announced that he planned a little stop on the way home. He was quite pleased with himself as he arrived at the precipice. The Redwood National Park. Shaded beneath a canopy of enormous redwood trees, you drove along. When Cove parked the car, you pushed the door to get out, and the first thing you did was look up. Enormous redwood trees surrounded you on all sides, their massive trunks shooting straight up into a canopy of foliage overhead. There were too many of them to count, stretching on and on as far as you could see. You squinted at the sunlight that was peeking through the leaves and dancing on the paths around you. It's great, right? He smiled at you from over the roof of the car before glancing around the place fondly. Remember the trip our families took here that one summer? It was cool going on a journey and seeing the forest in person, even if we didn't stay very long.
So...
And I guess we can stay for even less this time. But, oh well. It just seemed like a good time to stop by. Who knows when we'll get another chance? His voice got a little softer at the end. It seemed to be bittersweet for him, being in a place he was so fond of, but not having the time to appreciate it fully. You were pleased to have stopped there. It was a beautiful place to stretch your legs and take in some fresh air. I'll put up with you for the trees. Cove laughed, dragging his gaze away from the trees for long enough to smile at you cheekily. Oh, it must be so terrible for you. The two of you walked around for a while, completely dwarfed by the sheer scale of the redwoods. It kind of put your view of yourself and everything in a strange perspective. You took in a lungful of clean forest air, listening to the sounds of birdsong and the cool breeze rustling through the underbrush, taking advantage of the space to move around freely. Hey, Jordan. However you felt about being there, it was a totally different scene than sitting in that old car for hours and hours. You took Cove's hand. He intertwined his fingers through yours, smiling at you as he relaxed into your touch, and rubbed the back of your hand softly with his thumb. Being here again, you couldn't help but reminisce on what else had happened during the trip you had taken here all that time ago. There were a lot of things that had reminded you of it recently. You looked over at Cove, who seemed to be lost in the peace of the place, and you wondered if any of it crossed his mind. Smiling at the sight, you thought back on what had been a highlight of that long-gone vacation. You know, we almost kissed on that RV trip. Do you remember that? Cove snorted and covered his mouth with a hand, but you could still see the flush of pink on the tip of his nose. Yeah, I remember. I almost gave myself a concussion. Still probably in the top 10 most humiliating things I've ever done. You chuckled at the memory, and how your parents had caught the two of you in the loft together after that. I'm sorry about that, by the way.
Don't worry about it.
Don't be. It was kind of funny. You continued chatting about the trip a little while longer, about the things you had seen and done, and even eaten. A lot of the memories Cove had of the trip were similar to your own, but you were also surprised to hear of a few other things from his point of view. So much had happened that there was no shortage of things to talk about. The place certainly had a nostalgic quality about it. Hey, Tuesday. Hey, Jamie. You looked over at the sound of Cove saying your name to find him smiling at you, seeming relaxed amongst the nature of the park. Has anyone ever told you before that you have gorgeous eyes? Because you do. The words left his lips and you froze, completely taken aback by the compliment. He blushed, but his gaze remained on you. That's another thing that happened during the trip. Can't handle anal? Well, that's fair, Scrapegoat. It's not for everyone. You put a hand to your forehead, pretending to swoon. Cove chuckled at your dramatic response, shaking his head in amusement. Your spirits were light as you ambled past information boards and picnic areas. But before long, you decided it was time to bring this short stop to an end and head back to the car to get on the road again. On the road again. Cove sighed when you finally reached the vehicle, jangling the keys in his hand before unlocking the door.
Well,
I wish we didn't have to go, but we're going to be responsible and not stay longer than we should. How grown-up of you! He smiled slightly, and with that, the two of you jumped into the car, buckled in, and he put it in drive. You were getting closer and closer to town as the sun started setting, though you were still far enough away that the radio stations were unfamiliar to you. Cove twisted the dial this way and that before stumbling onto a channel with a song he seemed to like. That was a rare gift from the fates in a sea of static, strange radio jockeys, and grating tunes. His face immediately brightened at the sound of it, and he drummed his fingers along the bottom of the steering wheel happily. Sitting back in his seat, he bopped his head and shimmied his shoulders in time to the tune, all while mouthing along to the words. Occasionally, he even lifted one hand from the wheel to gesture with his fingers for a specific line. You sang along. Cove raised a pleased eyebrow at your vocalization. Emboldened by you, Cove decided to speak the words rather than lip-syncing. Your voices mixed together, slowly creeping louder and louder as you belted out the words of the song. It does feel like one of the funnest things to do is just like driving along singing to a song you like. Every now and then, a word would be sung wrong, and by the end you were both laughing too much to continue. The song ended and Cove reached over to start cycling through the radio stations again. Upon finding nothing tolerable, he flipped the dial off into feet and leaned back in his seat with a sigh. You rested your head on your hand and stared out the window as the sky darkened, watching the landscapes slowly melt into more familiar views. The miles went on, and any energy you had earlier was beginning to drain away. You imagined home and your family. You'd be there together soon. You know, I spent all these years living in Sunset Bird, and taking a few weeks each summer visiting my mom in that second room. That's not going to happen anymore. Not really.
I mean,
I can still see my parents, but the way it all works between us has changed. Forever. 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 He paused, the silence stretching. A serious look settled on his face, his thoughts far away. I feel the same about my parents too. I know they'll always be there for me, but we don't really have the same relationship we used to. Cove's mouth pulled into a tight line and he gave a small nod. You got the feeling that he understood how you felt. Cove stared straight ahead down the long, long road. The path looked like it'd never end from where you were, but that wasn't true. Eventually he found a few more words to say.
I'm so glad.
I think it's good we were able to do this trip without any parents or chaperones. It was just us. We did it all. I don't know, I feel a little more independent now. A little more ready for what's ahead. I'm not sure I'll ever be ready. The thought of leaving home, my mom's, it's scary. Cove sighed solemnly. The topic seemed to wear on Cove, and he made an attempt to find something else to speak on. So, I'm kind of sad about getting back. I'm going to miss having you right there tonight. He cleared his throat quietly, though said nothing more. You smiled to yourself a little at hearing him say something like that out loud. I'm going to miss it too. And with the feelings confirmed as mutual, the two of you fell into a comfortable silence. Chat is a goldmine for learning about women. I hope you're taking notes. Yeah, taking notes and just going to try to remember to do the exact opposite of what my chat tells me. I think that's my plan, Scrapegoat. The sky outside grew ever darker as the hours passed by, the stars blinking on like tiny fireflies painted onto a canvas of blue. The scenery continued transitioning between open roads, industrial areas, and beach towns, becoming increasingly recognizable as time went on. You felt somewhat disconnected from the world around you as you watched it through your window, your tired mind growing hazy. It was a strange, reflective feeling, but peaceful nonetheless. Soon enough, the world would return to you, and you'd find your feet firmly on the ground. It couldn't be helped. The adventure would end, life could continue, but your memories would linger on. No, Stella. Horror game? Not a full horror game, no. Not a real horror game. Hey, Bugs. Yeah, I don't think I feel like doing another moment here. Hey, Bugs. So yeah, I think I will stop here for tonight. Sorry, honey bunny. See, I'm gonna stop here for tonight. My next gaming stream, I will get back to validate. Not tonight, Google user. Maybe sometime in the coming week. And, workup? No, Gia. Not sure what I'll be doing tomorrow. And then, I'll need to decide if I feel like making Sims some sort of, like, donation goal thing or something like that. I don't know. Since people keep trying to get me to play it. I like the game because the real fans are here. Gonna have us wondering, all sad, refreshing page to see when you come back when you move. Roxy, I know it's free. I actually did download Sims 4 and then promptly uninstalled it because it was like, holy shit, that's fucking boring. Like, that's what happened. Like, I was like, fine, I'll give it another try. So I downloaded it. I did play Sims 2. I used to play Sims 2. And then hit a point where it's like, why the fuck am I playing this? It's just goddamn boring. So yeah, I downloaded Sims 4, played it for like an hour, and was like, this is so goddamn boring, and uninstalled it. No, not quitting streaming. But, yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night here. Gonna end the stream for tonight. And I do not have a Discord now. Over 2 hours playing Skyrim this morning, and all I did was move NPCs into my houses to create little families. Cute. Wicked Whims, no bugs. I don't think I'll be doing that. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. So yeah, I'll come live tomorrow. And